If you think about it, there's very specific rules for the brick and mortar world of what you can and can't do. Those rules haven't been written yet for online. So at the beginning of COVID, one of the things that most of the retailers were missing were product content, basic bottle shots, right? And they were worried, some of the retailers weren't even sure that they could accept that product content from retailers or from suppliers. Is that considered added value?
Hey guys, this is Sid Patel, CEO of Beverage Trade Network, an international bulk wine and spirit show. We are here live in San Francisco, day 2 in the show. I'm here with Robyne Eldridge. She's the Vice President of B2C E-commerce. We're going to deep dive into what exactly that involves, what are her KPIs, and especially if you are a wholesaler, this is something which you want to pay attention to, like how Southern wine is enabling e-commerce, right? So Robyne, thanks for joining me here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Great. I think being a 3-tier system, there is a lot of things that suppliers want to do, but obviously they have to work with distributors. And then there is a lot of things retailers want to do, but again, they want to have to work with the distributors. So let's define what all they can do. Like what are your KPIs? Because I believe that's what they can do.
Yeah, I think so. My world is specifically B2C e-commerce, the world of omni-channel. So trying to help retailers further their wine and spirit sales online and how they create that awareness with consumers. So very specifically, at the beginning of COVID, some of these retailers were investing in online grocery, but they really didn't have a plan for beverage alcohol. It's very complex. Most of the retailers, digital teams that they do have are resourced against pay-to-play categories, which, as you know, isn't an option for us.
Sure.
So, a big part of what our team does is kind of helping to unlock opportunities at the retailers. And it seems ridiculous that kind of, 3.5 years since COVID, like we're still having to do so much unlocking, but it's a complicated category, so we're still finding ways to further our suppliers' brands by just opening up those opportunities at the retailers.
Understood. So I think if I'm summing this up properly, how you would do a case stack or a merchandise or shelf, that's exactly how you're helping them set up their online pages.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you think about it, there's very specific rules for the brick and mortar world of what you can and can't do. Those rules haven't been written yet for online. So at the beginning of COVID, one of the things that most of the retailers were missing were product content, basic bottle shots, right? And they were worried, some of the retailers weren't even sure that they could accept that product content from retailers or from suppliers. Is that considered added value?
Oh.
So that's one of the examples of like, well, of course you need a digital shelf in this virtual world. Of course you need product content, but they weren't even sure how they could get that. So this is one of the ways that, Southern Glazers has stepped in. We've invested in content in a significant way. We have a library of over, 200,000 images, and we syndicate content for the suppliers for free. There's no markup, just because we want to be that solution provider for the retailers and help reduce that friction point.
What other ways you've seen, work which distributors can do to drive the consumer awareness, which you said is also the part of the thing, right? Like, okay, you put your products there, but now also retailers expect that you drive some traffic on the websites.
Yeah. I would say, one, helping the retailers' own teams. Again, there might be 4 teams that work on digital at the retailers, right? So you have a content team, you might have a third-party delivery team, you have separate, often teams for website, digital or website, email, and social media merchandising. So it can be hard to connect the dots internally. So if we can help educate those teams on things like, hey, in beverage alcohol, we can't pay to play, but we actually do build the basket. Consumers do put wine and spirits in the basket, are spending more, and we have better margins than the most of the rest of CPG. So over time, we actually may be delivering even more value than some of these pay to play players.
In 2024, what kind of advancements are you expecting? What are the 3 or 4 trends that you see in this space?
I think we're going to continue to see retailers, just really lean into personalization, making it easier to shop on the sites. We're still, for the most part, most of the retailers are still, they have kind of the same strategy nationally. They're not customizing that much by state or by banner. And I think that, the ideal state eventually would be, you get onto the site, it instantly recognizes you, it fills your cart with, the past purchases that you've done of wine and spirits and recommends relevant, additional choices to consider. But we have a long way to go to get
One
there.
thing that came to my mind is, how in a bottle shop, when someone walks in the actual just two-man operator shop, they say, John, your whiskey is right there in that shelf.
Exactly.
And he knows exactly where to go, pick it up, and brings back, right?
Yeah.
So something like that is what you're referring should happen
how
online.
great would that be? And I think consumers are really willing to share their data and very open to that personalization when it can provide value and convenience to them. So I do think that retailers will continue to lean into that. I also think for like grocery customers that are, still struggling to figure some of this out, we have Instacart and we have some of these third-party delivery partners that are also and sometimes delivering better experiences that are helping, to aid that journey. So.